What's up, YouTube? Here with a Koa'ki Meiru deck profile. I've seen Busfair working on his for a while now through our Facebook group that he and I admin, and I've liked seeing where the deck comes and stuff, and he just posted up his today. I've been working on mine on the backside ever since I saw him start working on it also, so I figured I'd go ahead and do this and then go ahead and post it over to him as well. For the most part, our decks are really the same. There's just a couple key card differences here and there in mine, so this video will be fairly practical and short. We start off with 3 Earnite. He's pretty much the heart of this particular deck. You can reveal a core to special any level 4 or lower Koa'ki Meiru from the deck. So depending on the situation, you can go into whatever you want. You can go into beaters for search. You can go into double beaters. That's the search guy. That's the double beater guy. You can go into any of the rock stun engine depending on if you know what their back rows are, if they have a set monster you're going to run into. If they have a special monster you can't get over, there's ice, etc., etc., etc. And of course they all have the maintenance costs of pitching core or revealing something. His reveal is another Beast Warrior type, so any of the other copies of himself or the 2 copies of Crusader. If Crusader runs something over, you can search for any Koa'ki Meiru card, which is pretty cool, but mostly he's just there as an extra reveal for Earnite in case you don't have core. 2 Berzak, he's the big beater of the deck, 2k, and if you kill something he can attack again. So that's really awesome. You either reveal the other copy of himself or pitch the core, of course. But typically, if you Earnite into Berzak, you're going to beat something with Berzak, attack again for 2k, attack for 2,000 or 21 if 10 Kai's on the board for Earnite, and then make an Exceed play or let Earnite live and let Berzak die. One or the other. We play a little bit of a bigger Rockstone engine than Busfair chose to do. I'm playing 2 ofs of everything versus his option of only 1 Sandman and 1 Wall. This just gives me that better option of being able to essentially stun plays that my opponent's going to be doing, as well as having plenty of things to reveal for them. So while there's a little bit of a smaller Rockstone engine, I feel that has a little bit more flow to itself. It is sort of a backup engine if you don't have Earnite making power plays, which is something Busfair chose not to do. I did choose to play the 1 Ice, something else that he didn't do. The reason I chose Ice, first off, was just another 1900, and because of his maintenance cost, other than pitching core, it's reveal a continuous spell, and we play 5 continuous spells. So I really like the fact that he had a more diverse maintenance cost that was a lot more easily fulfillable than some of the others. But his effect is actually pretty cool. You can pitch a card to destroy any special summon monster on the field. So that's going to get over envoys or an Exceed that you couldn't have got over otherwise, etc. We play 2 Boulder. They grab us anything pretty much in the deck we want. Mole is awesome, and Morphing Jar because this deck does run out of hand advantage really, really fast, and this deck needs a full hand to be able to make plays. So Jar is there to help us refill that. Dualities, of course, are our filter, and transport units grab us core. This is sort of where that hand advantage thing comes into play. You have to discard a card to grab the core, and then you're pretty much going to be discarding that core anyways. So you do lose hand advantage really fast, but you do need access to the core. 1's not enough, and 3's too many of unit. I agree with Busfair quite a bit on that. The card that really made this deck playable, the fact that he noticed this and decided to do this was awesome, and it's the sole reason I decided to sort of follow in his footsteps and build this particular version, is the new Fire Dance archetype, and Tenkai in particular, as a Roto for Beast Warriors. You activate this card and it fetches you Earnite. That's its sole purpose, as well as the fact that it is maintenance cost bait for ice, and it boosts your Earnites up to 2100 or your Crusaders to 2000. So that's not too bad either. 3 cores, you have to play them. Again, with losing hand advantage, if you need core, I can't get it any other way, you can pitch a Koa'ki Meiru during your draw phase to add it back to your hand, or just add it back to your hand instead of drawing. A lot of times I'll draw and then pitch to add the core. So it sort of is like I didn't draw for the turn, or I can get rid of a Koa'ki I didn't need. But you have to play 3 core, or else you're going to lose, like, no questions asked. I chose to play 1 Initialize. It's sort of like a Gemini Spark without the +1. If you're going to lose your guy anyways, this just gives you the option to turn it into a core, so your next turn is going to be a little more consistent. And then, of course, staples with Reborn, Whole, MSTs, and Heavy. I chose to play 2 copies of Luster. If you draw this card, or if you're top decking and grab this card, and you don't have core, it's just totally dead, and that sucks. That's why I chose to not run 3. But the card is really, really good, especially if you have the deck flowing right. So 2 copies, and then just general monster removal in forms of prison and compulses. The extra deck is a lot of one-ofs. We have Utopia and Maestroke, Butterfly, Pearl, Corn. Fairy King is awesome in this. It's your out the gores if you didn't have a Guardian on the field when you made your attack. Gunman's awesome. We have 1 copy of Firestar King Soko. We do have 5 Beast Warriors in the deck in the forms of Earn Knight and Crusader. So you can go into this guy that will then fetch you another Tenkai, which will then fetch you another Earn Knight. So there's a lot of pluses if you do go into this guy. We play 1 of Blade Armor and 1 of Excalibur because of the 2 Berzaks. In case, you never know. The options are there, as well as Reborn for possibly another warrior or something. I almost want to play Mind Control also, but for some reason I opted not to in this particular build. I didn't really have the room for it, and I felt like it was either Mind Control or Initialize, and I think Initialize is a little more important. Emerald gives us Recycle, and then Meiru is really there because of the I'm totally spacing, guys. Smack me if you see me. Gear game matchup. If you're going to smack into a armor without Guardian, at least you can put it back so they can't expand off of that play next turn. Assuming that you didn't have a way to kill that already. But that's the main time I've ever gone into Meiru. And then we just have the 3 beasts. If you have an Earn Knight on the field from the previous turn, Reveal, Special, Normal, there's your 3 level 4s. As for the side deck, I sort of sided into a Rock Stun, or the options of Rock Stun, with a 3rd copy of each of the Koa'ki Meirus. Depending on the matchup, if they have a lot of back row, if they're like a turbo spellbook variant, or just a lot of monster effects like windups or something, you can side in just the 3rd copy of the one that's more relevant. I chose not to side into like block golems and full Rock Stun, because it's impossible to do that size of a side deck, because of the fact that we play the Tenkais and the core units, the cores themselves, the Initialize, the Earn Knights, the Crusaders. There's too much to do a full swap into Rock Stun. But you can grab the more adequate stun card that you need. 2 Dynas, pretty much the same reason. They work well with the Rock Stun engine and stop things like windups. Again, with Tornadoes. I chose to run Ice over Tornado in the main because the maintenance cost is easy, and at least he's in 1900. But Tornado, if they're going special summon nuts, you send in Tornadoes, and you're just like, hey, normal Tornado, core to the top, nuke your field, swing for 15. And then finally, 1 copy of Drago, pretty much just there for like agents or Chaos Dragons or whatever. If you have a core to pitch for the turn, it gives you that turn of stall or whatnot. Spells, 1 Close Forest, GK, Gravekeeper, etc. 3rd MST, and then a Soul Taker for that Chaos Dragon and the hero matchup. 2 copies of Needle Sealing, pretty much there for windups again, and Soul Drains are there for the Atlantean matchup. So let me know what you guys think, especially you, Busfair, and I will talk to you guys later. Comment, rate, subscribe. Peace out.